Welcome to you too.
Thank you.
Of course, as you know, this is the Pneuma Company show. And this segment here is State of the Nation! And of course, the State of the Nation segment is brought to you and powered by the person of the Holy Spirit. Of course, I'm myself, I'm Pastor Christian. And I'm your host, co-hosted by our lovely
Lily Robinson.
Lily Robinson. Isn't she beautiful?
She's beautiful!
Yes! And of course, here in State of the Nation, of course, we can never continue without giving the due diligence and respect to our man of God, the highly esteemed one. Special thanks to the person of the Holy Spirit. Special thanks to you all, those on Periscope, those on YouTube, joining us tonight, and our lovely special audience, the largest audience! We love you all. You guys are beautiful.
You too.
So, let's kind of dig in. So, what's going on in the State of the Nation, shall we?
Yes.
Man,
Ready
let's
to
go.
go?
Let's do this. Of course, you can all take your seats with us. Sit like a king, of course. Don't sit too fast, man. Let me show you how we do in the throne. Yeah, how are you?
I'm in a palace, obviously. I am amazed by what you guys are doing here. I'm saying that this community and growth, it's amazing. And
So if you don't mind, if I give us a little background so they know who they're dealing with here tonight. So Miss Sister Lily Robinson, you know, she's in the top corridors of politics here. We're very privileged to have her here on set. Currently, she's at Fox. She knows what's going on. With the State of the Nation, that's what we want to bring to you guys, of course, so that you can eat the good of the land, right? Okay. So, what's been going on this past week, Sister Lily?
let's dive right in and talk about healthcare.
That's what you want to do.
Yes.
So, of course, you know the Senate brought their proposal there for the actual healthcare bill, which was their proposal based on what was passed with the House's bill to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Yeah, they laid it all out this afternoon in Washington, D.C., and it's up to the rest of the nation to digest it.
Fascinating.
So this, I would say, one of the things that we have to focus on is what exactly the contents of this new bill are. Cutting Medicaid. I hope those two words get you right away. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's cutting Medicaid, it's reshaping the funds that go to low-income houses to help them get subsidies for insurance, and it's taking away the rule that says everyone in America has to be insured. So that right there is something to digest.
It's a huge challenge. I think for me, you know, I'm a young man. I always stay young anyways, right? See, for me, my thing is, the first thing I was looking for was the number 26 on that plan, because I know what Obamacare brought into the ballgame for me was I could stay on mom and dad's healthcare plan. So recently graduated college, I'm getting my money up, I have a job. Do I have to now go and get my own health insurance, even though I'm kind of paying back loans like many other Americans? can I still stay on mom and dad's insurance just for a little bit longer, right?
That was the great thing about Obamacare, I would say. He didn't want anyone to get left out. Whether you were rich, poor, 26 or 27.
But then when you look at the details of the plan that was passed, it's still there. But I did see a little, kind of a hole there. And what I discovered was that it's going to be left now to the states to opt out. It's an option. And that seems a little fishy to me. Because now you're going to push this plan and say nothing's changed, but yet you're not having the states, you granted them the opinion or the opportunity to opt out of that actual provision. And if we're in a state that seems to be red, that's supporting the same bill that was passed by many Republicans, then, does that really leave us in the right state? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and why should it make a difference whether I live in New Jersey or New York if I'm going to get health insurance?
Exactly. So now, do you think this will actually affect where people move to, or where they choose to live, or where they choose to work, knowing that, hey, it might be cheaper for me to get a job in New York, knowing that I can still stay under mom and dad's health insurance than go to New Jersey instead? Like, don't you think that will actually affect the dynamics of how this country is, in a sense?
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
And I don't know, for me, that actually was just the main focus, but there's so many people that are above 65 that are having issues with it. Reports show that many senators, Republican senators, are still saying they won't agree, when the vote comes out. And I think they're planning on doing this vote around July 4th. And yet,
But they want to start as early as next week. July 4th is right around the corner.
Sure.
I have a vacation on July 4th, and trust me, I know that's 2 weeks from now.
I just don't understand. Why? Personally, I still want to understand why they're even doing this. Why do they really want to repeal and replace Obamacare? What really is the challenge? And how is it that Mitch McConnell, right, the Senate Majority Leader, goes behind the scenes, gets 12 close ally senators, drafts this proposal, and then other Republican senators are saying they still don't even like it?
See, that's such a good point. I think we have to look at what they need to be accomplishing by doing this. They can't just be doing it to get rid of Obamacare because you don't like Obama.
And it seems like that's the sense of it.
It does.
That's my personal challenge. But do you have any other concerns, or does our audience have any concerns in regards to what's going on in Washington, D.C.? Why is it that that's their only focus? It seems as though that's all the senators has been putting their mind to, and the House.
Yeah, anyone. What concerns you most about healthcare?
Especially now, midterms coming up, and that only thing that the senators seem to do is focus on healthcare. Just repeal and replace Obamacare. Is that really a concern, or should they focus more on other items, other challenges? I don't know. Perhaps maybe someone's going to ask the prophet soon. Or does our pastor have something to say?
Amen.
Pastor, tell us something that we don't know.
I think that it stems from what the promises, political promises that.
My closest, my friends on Periscope can see.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We have YouTubers here if they want to see you.
I'm sorry. I think that it stems from the promises that Donald Trump made to his, constituents, and he wanted to carry it through. And besides, he doesn't like anything about Obama. So he wants to repeal all his policies, and this was number one. And the fact that it came out before and he failed, it was now like a tug of war. That he really wanted to win. So it has nothing to do with healthcare anymore. He has no concern or compassion to anybody that is involved. He's just wanted to repeal it. I think that's what the idea. I don't know if you all agree with me.
He raises such a good point that it's not even about healthcare anymore, and that's the reason why the bill that the House drew up in May failed, because it wasn't about healthcare at all. It was so bad that they said this can't even work. It can't be sustained in years to come because no other president in their right mind would be able to, which is why, I mean, you got to give them some credit. These are brilliant senators, and motivated by political reasons or not, they realize that they can't, that it makes no sense to do that. They even recognize that you can't have a healthcare bill that doesn't insure healthcare.
For all. The point is that all should really be insured. And this isn't that. They're saying that it's going to, provide more flexibility for actual insurance companies, and it won't really fall on the federal spending, which in a sense does make sense. But at the same time, if you say it's not...
Yeah, let's look at the numbers. Okay, so they're proposing $15 billion a year for these next 2 years and 10 billion after that.
Yeah.
And is it 50 or 60 billion to the states in a fund, right?
Yeah, which they're also now cutting back, especially for states. And in addition to that, but the Planned Parenthood is getting cut. There actually so many actually Medicaid expenses within those is getting cut off as well. So you're saying you're providing healthcare, but yet now you're cutting the budget still, and then leaving it to insurance companies, but then saying that the states have the options and the insurance companies have the options, and of course they're going to make the options that make sense for them financially, not for the people who need the actual insurance themselves. What do you have to do it for? It's going to come as a government and say we want to provide everyone health care. It's going to cost, especially in the beginning, just to even enroll them. That's true, but then if you're going to say no, the government can't spend money, you're going to put it in the hands of the insurance, well, yeah, we're going to make sure that they provide health care to everyone. That's still counterintuitive because you're leaving it to a private industry, but yet telling them how to run it. They're still going to find their own loopholes. Like for those who say, oh, those with pre-existing conditions will still have the means to get health care, but then at what price, at what premium, when you're leaving it to the states to make that decision? It's, I think it's going to get messy, knowing that healthcare has always been a challenge of taking care of. Obama finally came in and got something done. At least got something done to begin with. Now, why is it all of a sudden, like, the government is saying, no, we can get something done too? Is that what the sense of it is, or?
I want to point out that I'm really glad we're talking about this because healthcare policy is one of the biggest issues. If you look at what happened in Washington today, there were hundreds of people who stood outside of the senator's office and protested. One man said he would rather die than let this bill pass. It is deep.
How many people were arrested then?
43. 43 arrests for protesting the right to health.
That's honestly enough about healthcare personally.
It's been an interesting week in politics.
Although it is good to see the Senate doing something.
Yeah.
Although the sentiments do I agree with not per se, but at least we're doing something. That I can give to.
It's been an interesting 2017. Did we just spend the past 6 months with a president that might or might not be under investigation?
I don't know. He is. Even though we said this man is under investigation. Okay? Even though we did kind of tell him face to face that he's not, but who would in their right mind tell their boss I'm going to investigate?
Even his lawyer isn't sure. If you were able to catch some of the shows this weekend, Trump's own lawyer said twice, oh, he is not under investigation. He is not. Then he said, oh, he is. He is. And then he said, oh, he's not. He's not. So which is it?
The question is, can you investigate? Trump even went on Twitter saying, listen, it's not me, it's my campaign. But you do know it's the Trump campaign. How are we going to investigate your campaign for you running, and we're not going to look at you at least at some point? We may not start with you, but at least at some point, if we find some things going on with those on your ticket, at some point won't we ask, hey, did your boss know about this? It's still gonna lead to the one whose name is on this. You're the reason why there is a campaign. So you can't just say, oh, it's not me that's being investigated, it's just a campaign. I don't know what they were doing. That still shows your lack of leadership anyway.
Yes, sir.
So it's still all a fail for many people. You want to look at it. It's just me. I feel like
It's a fail for maybe everyone but Donald Trump because he can't get arrested for it.
Oh.
But everyone else can.
Yes, sir.
See, now we're digging deeper because, and actually, I think there's one more person who may not be able to get arrested. I think Jared Kushner might be safe. Here's the reason why I think so.
Okay.
You see, although there's some intel committees now who are demanding, as of today, for his privileges to be revoked. Meanwhile, he's in the Middle East. We'll talk about that later. But Jared Kushner, who's the son-in-law, New Jersey native, real estate tycoon, who's married to Ivanka Trump. So you guys might be wearing her outfits. So she got it in time. They're pulling it from. There you go. Oh, y'all have it on sale. I reserve my comment.
I do have to say I've seen Ivanka Trump at 70% off.
Whoa! So that's one? I have to do a little early Christmas shopping. Okay, but to the point. Now imagine Jared Kushner's son-in-law, who there has been confirmations that he did have, connections with the Russian ambassador, even while the election was going on, just like Jeff Sessions. But Jeff Sessions was fired because he didn't tell that to the VP. He kind of misguided him. Meanwhile, Jared Kushner did the same exact thing, misled the White House to get White House clearance and work on that campaign. Yet, he's still there. So then, which one is it? Is it that, if you've been proven to have, meetings with the Russian ambassador, it's been proven, it's there, text messages to prove it, meetings to actually prove it, then one is fired for lying about that to the VP, but the other one lied about it to the White House and there's no problem. That's why I also think now that, man, Jared Kushner is looking good. He's close clear. And maybe it's because he's directly related to the president. So that's just my own standpoint. I just want to put that out there. Call conspiracy if you want, I think it's facts.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be a lot of getting away with it going on lately. New accusations coming out all over the place. What about, you heard about the lawsuit? You were telling me about it earlier.
He's being sued left and right.
Trump is being sued left and right.
So many action groups. Literally, if I want to list it now, the show can't end. And we're talking about like this week. We're not talking about 2016. We're not talking about like before he, was sworn in. We're not talking about the 80s and the 90s. We're talking about this week alone. The number of action groups. There's nonprofits starting up just to now sue him. To the point where he has no choice but to not. He can't even rely on the White House, lawyers anymore. He has to go hire his own personal ones too, because some of them are bringing in factual things that can really hold weight in the court of law. And then in addition to that, there's more information coming out. There's people that he's firing left and right, and some of them might start talking too. There's subpoenas going on. The Justice Department that should be defending him, their Attorney General Jeff Sessions had to step down because he's being investigated.
Yeah, I think what Trump is doing is pretty interesting, trying to maneuver the whole Russia situation. What strikes me as interesting is what recently came out about President Trump asking not only the Director of National Intelligence, but also the National Security Agency to back off, basically.
Yes.
And if that's the case, is that or is that not obstruction? That's the question.
Which is another investigation that's beginning.
Yeah.
Obstruction of justice. It's fascinating how when Comey came forward about 2 weeks ago in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee, they were saying, was he obstructing justice? And he said, it's not my job to do that, but other departments. And that's literally what happened. He's now under investigation.
Or do we really just have a big bully on our hands? Someone telling everyone to back off, that you can't investigate me?
Technically, he didn't say back off. He says, I hope.
Which is just quid pro quo. Yeah. You do for me, I'll do for you.
Hey, scratch my back, I scratch yours. We'll see. But then again, on the other hand though, it is legal. And he's innocent until proven guilty. At the end of the day, you can definitely, as a president, you can say, hey, I hope, you can leave this matter alone. It's a witch hunt. What they're saying isn't true. Let's focus on what's important for the American people. And honestly,
Or you can say, I might have videos, I might have recordings. Until it comes out that you yourself were recorded. As evidenced by the Comey memos.
True.
Yeah.
But is that even legal too? Comey says it's legal as a private citizen. Now we're jumping to a different topic even. But Comey even said, yeah, I do have personal memos. And as leader of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that should be classified information, but I leaked it for my own safety because I'm a private citizen, which he is now currently. So is that even legal? Would that put him under investigation? And I begin to wonder who is going to investigate him, and then who's investigating who?
But what I want to say though is the risk here is that all of this won't be taken seriously. The the FBI is an honorable department. It is here to keep our country safe. The whole reason they began the investigation was to make sure that Trump's foreign policy was in line. So
It's not.
So if their investigations are compromised, how do we keep our country safe? You know, how do we keep justice prevailing? I would say that what's most important is sticking to the law because no one, not even the president, is above the law.
Yes, sir.
We hope. We hope not above the law. And then you begin to wonder if there's so much, if the Senate is fighting the executive, the legislature is fighting the executive, why are these people traveling outside the country to settle the problems in Palestine and Israel? And
Do you think that'll be his redeeming spot, going to the Middle East to bring justice and peace?
how does a man do
Palestine,
business with
Israel?
Russia go to Israel and say we have your back?
Yes,
That
sir.
makes no sense. And then when Netanyahu makes the comments like, I feel calmer, I'm at peace now, you're bringing Jared Kushner. I understand he's Jewish and everything, but Jared Kushner literally does business with Russians.
Jared Kushner and Trump's negotiator, for that matter, come from real estate.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
But
That's true.
the ambassador for Russia, who they have connections with, is also the CEO of a Russian-owned bank. So when you have business with them and you have real estate in Russia, Trump Plaza potential in Russia and so many other locations, then you now have the Rex Tillerson, the former CEO of ExxonMobil, connections with Russia again and oil. This is your inner crew, this is your company now, and then you're not gonna come to Israel and say, listen, don't worry about our business with Russia. We're really focused on you. Meanwhile, you have monetary gains from Russia from so many angles that we know of. Talk to them if we don't know of.
I'm personally still on the fence about the Israel-Palestine talks because I want to have hope. It's been an ongoing conflict. I think it needs a resolution. Do I think one's coming? I can't say at all, and it doesn't look like it.
Listen, you need
But
to
I
ask
know
the
we
prophet.
need it.
There is a resolution, no doubt. One thing that just dawned on me is that there's a plan A of God, there's a plan B of God.
Yes,
And it
sir.
really just dawned on me that ever since Israel demanded for a king, they've been in God's plan B.
Yes, sir.
Can they really ever find peace? Because God even said, like, man, if you really want a king, he's gonna rule with a pretty heavy hand. That's even for their own. And then if you obey the law, you be blessed. If you don't obey the law, you be cursed. And then there was definitely curses. They went into captivity so many times. Now we're saying that we want Jared Kushner to bring the peace.
Christian and I were talking about this earlier. It is a problem that goes deeper than the 21st century. It's a problem that goes all the way back to Isaac and Ishmael. It's a problem of nations of biblical proportions.
It's not Trump.
Maybe the solution. Yeah, maybe. Of course. Who am I to say? Of course. Maybe the solution isn't in Donald Trump. Maybe it's in God. And His word, and His promises for Israel.
Amen. That's why he's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
He really can bring solutions to man. Like, I'm a product of it, honestly. Another thing that really dawned on me was that as much as there's so much turmoil going on between Israel and Palestine and in Washington D.C., man, like that was literally a reflection of my life. Like my life was literally in that kind of turmoil. And if God could take care of this young man, he definitely needs a solution. That's just my take personally in regards to this situation.
I am happy though that the United States is following up with what they said they want to do. The United States is in this world as a leader that people look up to. So if they say they want to bring peace to Palestine and Israel, and now we're actually sending some negotiators over, it's good to see action and work.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
And
But then is it really action and work, or are we trying to deviate from an investigation going on?
well,
Why is it now that you sent this? Why is it that when a letter was sent to the chief of staff saying pull this man's pull Jared Kushner's access to classified information. You send him out the country to now broker peace talks with two educated men who have been having this child before that young man was born.
I'm going to agree with Christian because let's not forget, Trump himself was in the Middle East trying to bring a resolution, and he was called back to the United States by the call of the investigation. So
yeah.
I think Christian raises a good point. It's a point about motives. Healthcare for healthcare's sake or for winning's sake. Peace in the Middle East for all the people who are suffering or as a distraction. It's motives are important. Motives. I want to talk about Otto Warmbier, the American college student who was detained in North Korea.
Yeah.
So even since we're talking international, just like you said, North Korea, which is another topic that where do we even begin with? But then to see a young student, our age even, probably our graduating class, or close to. We're talking about an intelligent individual from, I think, Wyoming, Ohio, was salutatorian in his class, which is, number 2. Now gets a scholarship, goes to the University of Virginia, a top program in the country, and now gets access to do a study abroad program in China, right? And what was even the program he was up to over there, or that he was supposed to be on?
He was taking a little detour to North Korea, funny to say that, but afterwards he was going to study investment banking in Hong Kong, one of the world's largest financial markets. This boy had a bright future in front of him, and today we're speaking about him because he was buried in his hometown at his high school today with 2,000 people in attendance. His brother, his sister, his parents who he left behind after returning home in a coma as they report, but according to his doctors, he was in more of a unresponsive, prolonged state, sort of like a vegetative state. It's sad to think that a young man who wanted fun, which is why I pointed to the idea of motives, he wasn't trying to bring down a regime, but a regime did really crumble the hopes and dreams that his family had for his future, that his friends had for spending time with him.
Definitely, and even to that family, may the Lord continue to comfort you. May you be comforted. It's really sad to see a parent lose a child, and like I said, to imagine that he was, a top student, just to go to Hong Kong on a study abroad journey and took a stop in North Korea. Even when you saw the video footage, just
a couple of days that he was there, a video footage that
we saw, it was just him taking a poster off of a wall in a hotel, and that brought him to. He was there for 17 months with hard labor in prison, just to now come back to his mom and dad in a coma, and now he's dead. And we're saying that it was because he's trying to take down the regime, and North Korea is no joke, and come on.
Yeah, that definitely calls to mind the way that it is in other countries. We're fortunate, very fortunate in the United States. And this is state of the nation, so in terms of politics, it makes us wonder, so what are the next steps? How can we sit by as a nation and allow this to continue? There are sanctions that need to be put in place, in my opinion. There are sanctions that have been discussed, and now we're just waiting to see results. We're waiting to see something move a little bit faster.
Yeah, and even that, I think this week they launched another rocket, North Korea. So
just today.
Well, just today.
Just today.
Wow. Not even missiles. Not even missiles, rockets.
In the hopes of fueling their intercontinental ballistic missile that they hope could reach the United States. I want all of us to think about people being held accountable, because we know as Christians that everything is in God's hands. At the end of the day, God will bring his justice and God will take care of everything. But that doesn't mean we should stand idly by. We can't stand by and watch our neighbors fall.
Yeah.
I need to ask that. I think the Bible says that evil prevails when good men do nothing.
Amen.
And it really does bring to question, like, man, how does this happen in the world that I live in? You know, if Abraham was, possessed of heavens and the earth and I can see, like, what am I really doing? If such things are really taking place where I am. And if we've really been called to be the light of the world, why is there really so much darkness going on? I think it does really call into question what we really are doing as Christians and what is the next step for us as well. And I think that too is a question for our mission. But I mean, there's really so much to even discuss, but I think that's all we can even take. But we do want to thank you even. Sophie as well, the Nation crew, she's been fantastic. Special greetings to our mama. My name is Pastor Christian.
Yes, sir.
And you have been watching State of the Nation on the Pneuma Company Show.
Yes.
Stay tuned for our next segment. It's gonna be live! Dre told me we gon' ball.